Okay, so you want to make a band that's surefire way that nobody will ever find you? Just name yourself lowercase t. Yeah, trying to enter that into a search engine? That's, you're never going to be able to find you there, bud. Read it from my fingertips. It's love. Solipsystemology? Solipsystemology. By T. Jeez, and here I thought that his past ones, the psychoanorexia, was going to be hard. T is synonymous with Thomas Thielen, a German progressive rock artist. I first actually heard about these guys within the psychoanorexia back in 2013. I really caught attention because I think there's only like 4 tracks on this album, and like 3 of them are well within the 13, 14, 20-minute mark. But T didn't really make his music all that available at the time. Even when I was trying to purchase this album online, there were a lot of hoops and hurdles for me to get through that I didn't actually end up purchasing it because I couldn't. And then all the albums that kind of came after that, I just couldn't really find my hands on it. So now we find ourselves on the latest album from him, and I just couldn't. I think because we're following a storyline, and I'm coming in like 3 or 4 albums after the beginning of this. So when the album starts off at chapter 7, I'm already like halfway through the storyline. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here. And even though, you know, Thomas makes it kind of easy to follow within the lyrical work, I'm still really lost in terms of where we are. So that was definitely kind of a knock coming into it. And unfortunately, he hasn't made it available, these other albums for us to discover, like Psychoanorexia, Fragmentopary, Estria, which is interesting. Like, these aren't like real words. They're kind of amalgamations of words that kind of already exist, which kind of gives a good idea of what is to be found on these albums. The songs are very pretentious in that sense as well, and not necessarily in the best light. I was really hoping that this album was going to knock me out cold, because I mean, the albums had been getting pretty good reviews, but having a hard time trying to find these guys, especially when you're typing T. I think that's part of the reason why he made these albums so long and complex in terms of the title. It's the easier find. Yeah, so let's actually dive into this album. I wasn't all that impressed, as you could kind of tell with the lead up. I just did not really gravitate to any of these tracks. I think that T, or Thomas, he kind of leans a little too hard on this type of singing style, which I'm not a big fan of. It's very bombastic. It's very kind of in your face. It reminds me of like a Scott Walker or H being kind of the forefront essence. And much like, say, Scott Walker or H, it's very kind of personal in approach. It's very, a little bit of like the raging. At the same time, it doesn't quite match the music that's surrounding it either. There's a little bit of like weird kind of touch and go in that kind of a sense, which would be fine if at some point the music would have landed. Like with Scott Walker, where it is just strictly atmospheric and is strictly just chaos. Or if it's like Marillion, where you have these touchstones, where you have like this really solid bass line, or you have this really solid guitar hook, or this really solid like keyboard aspect. Within this, you're always kind of shifting, you're always kind of moving around. There's never really a perch. When I don't have any kind of like grounding aspect of this, and I already mentioned a lot of the reasons why this album has things stacked up against it, I never really felt myself really entirely invested. I did find myself looking at my watch a lot of the times, wondering, you know, where we are in terms of the music style. When is this song going to end? And these are qualities that I don't really want to have within this type of music, because the music itself is very sophisticated. It's very, you know, complex and interwoven. There's a lot of like things going on behind the scenes in that sense. None of the songs really stood out. Like, if I were to put this song on shuffle, I don't think I would have had any of a less experience. At no point do any of the songs really, like, grab onto me and say, hey, this is a really interesting aspect. So yeah, I was really kind of let down with this album. Now, I know a lot of it probably is just where I came in, because I came in halfway through or near the end of this big storyline. And a lot of it was just not really knowing what to expect when I came in, and it was such a kind of a stark contrast. That's pretty much it. Like, I can't really dive into any of these tracks and really give you my impressions of it, because each track is kind of just interchangeable with the next. I probably won't be returning to it. I might search out and try to find his other ones. In the end, I gotta say, skip this album. You know, it just doesn't really do anything for me. I wish that it did a little bit more. I was really excited to finally listen to some of T's work, because I can see, you know, this is a really prominent worker, and his albums have always been getting really good praise, but I just don't see it. That's about it for, I'm gonna try this one more time, Solipsystemology by T. What did you guys think? If you've heard it, let me know of your own thoughts about this album and band by commenting down below. And yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.